Okay, we're gonna make a hand today, so let's start off with a cube. Just gonna put on shaded and the headlight. Give the cube 4 subdivisions and then scale it down to about the size of your palm. Next, select the front polys and extrude that to create some knuckles, and the back polys, extrude that to create a wrist and then just scale it down. Next is your thumb, and because it doesn't come out of the side of your hand, it's more diagonally. Take both of those polygons and extrude them diagonally downwards. Then you can delete these polys as well as the two on each side, because a flat surface is much easier to work with. So then press N to fill up the gap, split this poly just to make the next gaps easier to fill up as well, and to keep them at quads. Now take this little section that you've extruded and shape it a bit, rotate it a bit. Look at your hand, it's the kind of floppy part just before the actual first joint comes out. So just shape this and move it into a good position, and then extrude your first joint. Also scale it down a bit and move it so that it forms a good curve, and then extrude the next joint. Right, now this part is the top of the finger where the nail will come, and this is the bottom. Just shape the thumb a bit, give it a more rounded kind of look, and just ease out that little corner. Okay, if you look at your hand from the front and from the top, you'll see that your fingers come out at out of your hand in an arc, not flat out. So just create an arc with this hand, and then you can select the front of the faces and extrude along axes on the right click menu. Give it some length and then click merge off so that the polygons spread away from each other. Go to scale mode, into local, and make sure that center of geometry is off so that you can scale them all separately. Now look at your own fingers and how big they are, and scale these in proportion. Use your middle finger as reference. This is pretty much how small my pinky is, just in relation to my middle finger. These fingers are kind of short, so just pull them out a bit more for length. Okay, now we're going to add some definition to the thumb and top of the hand. So select an edge, hold down Alt, and then middle click on the next edge, and it'll select the entire loop. Then you can move out the edges and shape the thumb a bit, and the palm at the bottom. You'll see from your own thumb it has a kind of circular shape at the bottom where it comes in, and ease out that angle a bit, and just generally kick the shape of the top of the hand and the other part at the bottom, the other side of your palm, the fleshy bit, into a general shape. This looks about alright for now. Okay, next we're going to add in some knuckles. So go into edge selection, select the first edge, and then hold down Alt, and it'll select all the edges in the loop. Then hold down Shift and Alt. So hold down Shift and then select the next edge, and then Alt while holding Shift and select the following edge in the loop, and it'll create a loop. When you've done that with all the fingers, select in the right click menu subdivide and give it 3 subdivisions. Next, select the loops by holding down Shift and Alt and just middle clicking over one, and then click on bevel and give it 1 subdivision, the rounding tab. Then just play with the distance a bit to get it nice and tight, because this will be the folds at the bottom as well as the knuckles on the top. For the knuckles, select the middle edge out of all these that you created and drag it upwards a bit, and for the 2 edges on either side, just drag them out from that middle edge just to give your knuckle a bit more thickness. Okay, Do this for all the fingers, as so. Cool. Okay, now we're going to angle the hand a bit, since your hand is not a perfectly straight line. So to do this, select the one half of the line, then use the rotation, and you can move the pivot tool by putting on point snap, and then snapping it to the top point in the middle of the hand, then rotating that down. Then select the last finger, as well as all the polygons behind it, and snap it to the top point there, and rotate that a bit as well. Now you have a nice angle in your hand, like so. Right, let's put some more definition to the fingers. Select the edge loops of each joint, like so. And then when they're all selected, right click menu and click on split edges. Good. Now select all the verts around your knuckles, because we're going to scale them down a bit. Since your knuckles, apart from the very top part, is the thinnest piece of your finger. Well, mine at least. Use your reference, of course. But now these lines at the top of your hand, they're creating these bulges, and in my hand they kind of create more of a downward slope to each knuckle. The last one you can leave, because we're going to make a nice nail out of that. But the rest of them, move them down a bit to create the downward slope. Okay, just smoothing it out, see if there's any problems. Mine has these few points that somehow got created. So select them all, and then if you press delete, your mesh looks like this. So select them and press Ctrl Delete, and they'll just fade away. Now looking at it from this angle, it's a bit fat, and of course my thumb is ginormous. So I've just scaled it a bit, and now I'm going to scale the thumb. Again, move the pivot to pretty much the middle of where the thumb starts, and then scale it down so that it kind of looks more in proportion with the rest of the fingers. Yeah, that works. Okay, now the thumb is just very short, so we'll just drag it out, make it a little longer. Okay, that looks about right. Alright, now we're going to add some more definition and round the fingers. So select edge loops for all the fingers, and then split the edges. Now select the edges on the sides of each finger. You can do this by selecting the first edge, then holding down Alt and left clicking on the last edge. It will select everything in between. And just do that and scale them down a bit. For this middle of the fingers, you'll have to select both fingers as insides, and then scale them down at the same time. And then just do that for all the fingers. Cool. And for the very edge of the hand, you can actually select the entire hand, because your hand does slope downwards at the one end. Okay, looking at this now, my hand is kind of long, so I'm just going to select these polys over here and move them forward to put it back into proportion. Alright, smooth it out and check it out. Yeah, the fingers looks good, but let's give the thumb a little love. So the same process, select those two edge loops, go to bevel, rounding one subdivision, and then the distance is about fine. Then take the knuckles and move the top halves thereof a bit outward, as so. Yeah, looks good. And now we're going to put some definition into those 3 joints. So select them, split edges, and then the same principle, get the knuckles. I'm just using polygon selection here because these knuckles are bigger. Select them and then scale them down using local and making sure center of geometry is off. Cool, that looks fine for now. Alright, now we're going to select the edge loop right across the hand. So select one edge, hold down Alt and middle drag the next edge, and it'll select right across the entire hand. And split these edges. Okay, let's start with the fingers first to give them a bit of roundness. Select the first edge that is not attached to a corner, and then the next one that is not attached to the corner between those fingers. Go into scale mode. This time you can put center of geometry on, and then just scale it out to give it a nice rounded look. Do this for every finger. Remember, take the edge that is not connected to the corner piece, the first edge thereafter. Do this for all fingers. I selected one edge too much. There we go. Cool.